Yo, what's good my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned. Today we are going to be talking about something very, very big, and while I was getting the information together for this video, I actually found out something really crazy, and it was actually really cool, just really surprising and everything, and it gives me a lot of confidence about the global and Japanese version syncing. But I will get to that. I don't want to spoil everything in the start of the video. We are talking about the second standard pool update. So guys, if we do not know, if you're like a new player or you haven't been playing at all, basically the game started out with what is known as the standard banner, and the standard banner has a very basic set of characters on it that you can summon for as long as you get these tickets that are like super free to play friendly. And eventually they upgraded the characters that were on the banner, right? And the number of characters that they added were 12, as you can see right here, and they added 11 pages as well. So they added 23 SSRs to the pool than what was originally there. Obviously the original characters are still mixed into there, but guys, whenever games do stuff like this, it is always very important because it always becomes a very easy access way for free-to-play players or even like very light spenders to get some characters that they're missing out on. And the real reason why the standard shop update or standard banner update is important is because once these characters get added to the standard banner, you can officially just buy dupes for the characters straight up. Obviously the conversion rates are different from rare to SR to SSR characters, but I mean, you don't need to buy rare characters. There's only one SR character that I can think of that you actually need to buy, and that's Gakuganji. And honestly, that is a very understandable choice just because Gakuganji is actually a very, very good debuffer, but he only came out on Yellow Yaga's banner, and I understand everybody did not have the cubes required to summon on that banner. But before I really crack into this, I do just want to say, I have compiled a list of all the characters who should be added in the second standard banner update. And the reason why I wanted to go over the number of characters right here is because the list of characters that I have composed and pages that I have composed, their numbers are not exactly the same, but they are very close. And I always talk about how the next set of characters past this first little standard banner update right here, and honestly, not even that the next set of characters after these characters were far and away better. I feel like all the characters that are coming after the Japanese anniversary are probably far and away better, but I feel like these characters, some of them still have some relevance. I did go through real quick and just make a quick little list. I pretty much just like marked off each character as a W or an L, and then I did the same thing for the pages, and I added up, you know, how many total W's did we have out of this, how many total L's did we have out of this, in my opinion. Not saying that this is true, because some people could use very specific, very niche pages and make them work in a very specific way that is incredible, that is very unique. And if you do that, then please do link the video down below. I would love to see that. I'd love to see all these interesting comps and everything. But I do want to, one, present my list, my prediction for what the second standard banner update is. Then I want to, two, compare the amount of W's and L's on each one of the standard banner updates comparatively, just to see which standard banner update was actually just more impactful for the game. Not even to see like what's better, but more so because better is subjective. But more impactful for the game, I feel like, is a more solid metric to measure, because it's just like you can clearly look at this group of characters and then look at the next group of characters, and you can literally count on your hand one by one which characters are like revolutionizing the game for you, simplifying the game for you, really. But if you guys like these type of videos, I'm gonna ask for it early again. You can go down below and you can absolutely thrash that like button, and I will leave it at that. But guys, let's go ahead and get into it. First, we'll start off with our WL kind of like ratio on this right here. So, right here, I'll tell you right now, I have 6 W units. I have 5 W recollection bits added on this. Some of y'all might be looking at this and going, only 6 characters, only 5 recollection bits. Low key, pause the video right now. You can literally type out like, what do you think are W's, what do you think are L's on this shit? A very long comment, and I'm probably asking for people to send paragraphs at this point because there's 23 different things to like L, W, but like you don't gotta do every single one. You can literally just be like, okay, this is my favorite character from the standard banner update, or this is my favorite bit from the standard banner update. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. Comment that down below. But Junpei. I put Junpei as a W because actually I feel like unironically Junpei actually is pretty good. Like I don't use him a lot, And honestly, most of the time I'm in a setting where I'm trying to be more offensive, but with me having all the content in the game beaten right now, it's kind of like I am in a state where I can just kind of work on whatever character I want to, because like obviously, I have everything in the game beat currently. I probably have the roster of characters that I need to beat everything that's going to be coming out. If not, okay, I just gotta grade up a character. But I don't think that my account is in a state anymore where, oh no, I can't do this mission. Let me go work on this random stray unit. There are some units that I do still want to work on and get them up to level 115 and everything, because I picked them up from the Standard Banner update and I already had my rhyme and reason of the characters that I was working on. But at the end of the day, I unironically think that Junpei's really good. I mean, bro, he literally taunts the enemies and then dodges. He has poison. And honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it since it's, dude, I can talk about all these side by side, I guess. Did they all release together? No, not really, because there's one page missing for one, there's one page missing compared to the characters, and one of these pages I'm pretty sure didn't even come with a character. I feel like they came on their own banner. But I will talk about Junpei and Imaginary Youth together. Everybody was talking about how cracked Imaginary Youth was, and then I remember when Sukuna dropped in the JP version, people were talking about, oh, new DOT meta, blah, 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 which I don't doubt DOT meta. Sukuna is the best damage dealer in the game, but Sukuna's DOT is DOT Laceration, whereas this page specifically boosts DOT Poison. And the reason why I think that the page kind of sucks is because I'm just like, do you think that Junpei is a character that is going to admonish enough hype for them to create another variant of him later? Wow, that was such a mouthful of a sentence. I probably thought I was going to say something simpler or some shit. But literally, it's just like, Junpei is a character who, honestly, even in the show, they trolled this man's fucking life. Like, Mahito killed this man's mom for no damn reason. They had this man in the opening for the first season like he was going to become a Jujutsu sorcerer. And sure, his power was not that interesting. He did not seem like that intricate of a fighter. He didn't seem that intricate of motivations. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. That man's mom died. He got bullied. Like, he just had a hard life, to be honest. I feel bad for Junpei as a character, really. But it's crazy to me that, like, they even thought to cheese him in the game. Literally giving him a recollection bit called Imaginary Youth, because this is a youth he could have had if he were speaking to the right people. Fuck goodness. But like, yeah, Imaginary Youth is an L. I will go ahead and tell y'all that one. Imaginary Youth is an L in my opinion, but Junpei is a W in my opinion. Just because he actually is a little more useful. Especially, I feel like he might be, maybe he would be a cool option for people installing comps. Maybe he'd be a different type of option, right? Whereas you have those comps that are like, okay, damage reduction out the ass. You know, if you're in a fight that is highly focused on single targets, you know, maybe he could be your dark horse, and maybe you do have like Hanami already because she's free to play, or Rary Namaki because he's free to play. Like, come on, it's like you have one of those two characters, right? And then you can use Junpei instead if you don't have both of those characters. You're guaranteed gonna have Inamaki. You're not guaranteed gonna have Hanami. And guys, I'm not gonna talk your head off about every single one of these characters. I just feel like Junpei really has to be explained from the W side. Incomplete Domain Megumi, let's be real, W. You already know how this man works. See, Megumi doesn't require that much explanation. His domain is incredible. His damage is incredible. His debuffs are incredible. It is what it is. I put Red Yuji as a W because Red Yuji actually is, I feel like he's just a really, I never had Red Yuji on my original account on the JP version, and I remember when he dropped, Slug had summoned for him, and Slug was like, yo, he's good, but you can skip him. And then I remember I played the JP version, and one of the accounts that I rerolled, I was using Red Yuji low-key, and he wasn't even fully leveled up like everybody else was leveled up. But like low-key, his damage was comparable to the characters who were fully leveled up and shit. And they weren't fully leveled up, obviously. If I have a free-to-play new rerolled account, the characters aren't level 150 and everything, but like they're still like in their 100s and stuff. Y'all know I be grinding the hell out of these games, bro. Like, I'm level 69, I'm almost level 70 in the global version. I've been cooking, because I know that level 100 is a cap, and then I know that level 130 is going to be a new cap that they add. And gosh, I can't believe I forgot this feature in my video that I released yesterday. Go check that shit out. Some features that would break the game. I can't believe I forgot to mention boosting the stamina system from 200 to like 300 or like 400 or whatever, right? But I feel like that'll come eventually. I feel like the game isn't full enough and they don't want you to fully play it. That's why, basically. But Red Yuji, a W, nonetheless. His damage is quite formidable. Yuji units are just cool too. I feel like low-key, units that are like Yuji, like in Black Clover Mobile, Asta units, I feel like Asta units low-key hit hard as shit. Like, in that game, just because they're physical. And in the show, you know, mages naturally have a weakness to like people who are more physical, more in your face and shit. Also, is there any chapter of Black Clover? No, it's next month, I believe. But still, Yuji functions in a very similar way as Asta. I feel like he just hits really fucking hard because he has no curse technique. so they have to give him hella physical technique, like these Yuji characters. Even if the physical technique is not as high as like a newer version of the Yuji, like I feel like for them comparative to other characters of their like era, then it's like Yuji's are pretty strong in the physical department. And guys, I also want to say like, yo, the standard banner updates are definitely in like eras. Right now, we have the first standard banner update, which is like the pre-sync era. Then we have the second standard banner update, which I believe will be the sync era, and I'll give more reasoning onto that a little bit later. And then the, you know, any standard banner update from that point on, laterwards, like all of those are like the same era, because I think the games will be synced by the time we have a third standard banner update. Hollow Purple Gojo obviously is a W. I remember back when I had 75k cubes originally, and I said I was not going to summon at all, and then like Hollow Purple Gojo, I was really struggling with a floor on the tower, and I was like, all right, fuck it. And I went a full rotation deep on Hollow Purple Gojo, and maybe I did 2 more summons after the rotation because I'd already gotten them. And I think what had happened was I got 2 more dupes of them in that one multi. So, dude, I gotta record summons more. Like, I never record summons, but like, guys, I am definitely trying to improve and change as a content creator. Like, you even see that I'm saving my cubes up now. I have like nearly 24k cubes. Like, I'm actually dead ass making an effort to save my cubes so that like whenever we do have a big event, you know, I can make a spectacle of it. I can make a video because I know that you guys love summons. Or honestly, I'm just gonna stream my summons. But nonetheless, next up, Momo, absolute major W. Her buffs are incredible. She replaces SR Nanami for you. I feel like SR Nanami is a staple character. I feel like a very staple like basic team. It's like SR Nanami, like Blue Gojo, just because he's easy for you to get. You know, SR Yaga, right? SR Nanami can be replaced by Momo. SR Yaga, I mean, he still kind of reigns supreme. You can replace him with the SSR Yaga, but like, it's not exactly the same effect. I will admit, it's not. But I do want to finish working on my SSR Yaga skills all the way and really start utilizing him in fights where he can debuff and really go nuts with it. You know, Blue Gojo can be replaced by Hollow Purple Gojo, right? All these characters are really good because they're clear replacements for characters that were destroying the game in the first place. So literally the entire first 5 right here are all W's, bro. So then we finally get into it. I say Blue Combo is an L. He's not really that impressive as a damage dealer. I don't have him personally, and I wanted him just to kind of like fill in my blue team. But honestly, at this point, I'm just like, nah, bro, I'd rather just wait and summon for Blue Ghetto. I'd rather just wait for Anniversary, and even after Anniversary, be somewhat hesitant with my cubes and wait for the JJK 0 rerun. And also, do you think that the JJK 0 rerun is going to be happening right after the half anniversary on the global version? Let me know down below in the comments. But I think Combo is going to be an L. I think he's a break character. I'm not like, I've done videos talking about all of these like characters. I believe I've done a video talking about all the standard banner update characters. Yes, I definitely have. And I've definitely done a video talking about all of the secondary standard banner update characters. So I'm not going to talk about them too in detail either. Red Nobara, I'm so sorry to say this. I love Nobara. Like, she's one of my favorite characters, but I gotta say that like Red Nobara is an L right now because I feel like there's just too many good red options to replace her, or not really too many good red options, but you gotta think. You have Toji, Yuta, Red Yuji, who you can get on the same banner, and then you have Domain Expansion Gojo coming, who really doesn't need, like, obviously you're setting him up with damage dealers so that they can maximize what they're doing, but at the end of the day, Gojo is a good damage dealer himself, and he's not even supposed to be a damage dealer. He's just the best character in the damn game. So it's just like, you have options for red characters, so it's just like, Nobara is not necessarily somebody, and you have, honestly, you have a pretty high likelihood of having a good red character in your account. If you have Toji or you have Yuta, I'm sorry, I just don't see you really like working on Red Nobara that much. And like, honestly, I would even say, now I wouldn't waste my materials on this right now, but I would even say, because I'm wasting my materials right now on Green Yuji, and like Green Yuji is gonna be good, like, I mean, probably during the half anniversary, which is only, by the way, guys, only 45 days away now. Like, somebody was telling me that my account looked free to play because I didn't have Blue Namaki while I was streaming, and I was like, bro, there's a difference in between free to play spender and stupid. I'm sorry, like, Blue Namaki's cool. He might alleviate some of your stress in the game. You know, he might make some stuff easier, but it's like, isn't it kind of stupid to summon for extra characters to improve your gameplay experience when you have the best gameplay experience? I'm not saying obviously I do everything perfectly in the game, but if you have the characters that you need to work on, and you can stop summoning, and you can maximize every character that you have right now, so that every new character you get in the future can just get full focus instantly, right? It's like, this is a weird analogy, but it's because I want to have kids, right? It's like you have your first few kids, right? 2, 3 kids, whatever, and you decide to have that last kid. It's like, you know, you're not gonna decide to have that last kid after the first like 2 or 3. You're gonna make sure the first 2 or 3 are like straight, so that it's just like when you have that last kid, like all of them are benefiting the last kid, right? Because it's just like you taught your kids enough, and now it's not just you teaching your last kid. It's like you can kind of alleviate a little bit of the stress on yourself, because now you have like your wife to teach your son or daughter, and you have your other 3 kids to teach them as well, everything that you taught them beforehand. And a very nice thing about that too is just like as generations come out, you know, every person that you teach beforehand all instills their information into the newest person, right? And that got super deep for a second, but think about this. If every single one of my characters are worked on in my account, then that means that every single one of my characters are characters who are helping to improve the next character that comes out. Because when the next character comes out and I summon for them, we know how gacha games work. You are going to get 1,000,001 dupes of characters that you literally do not need. It's like there's somebody at headquarters looking at your account and saying, all right, this is 5-star, this is 5-star, this is 5-star. Low-key boost the rates for those 3 characters while this person is summoning. Like, bro, it feels that way every time. So if the characters are all maxed out, and dupes you can't really just like grind and max out. I mean, you can by technicality, but that's just grinding cubes, summoning, trading in character dupes, blah, 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 blah. But speaking of trading in character dupes, literally, you trade in character dupes for characters that you already have maxed out. Then essentially, you can use those character dupes to buy dupes for other characters that still need to be filled out. And also, if you don't have to use experience on any other characters or anything like that, all that experience goes to the next like character. Like, it's just like, obviously, you set yourself up for success on the back end. Every single new thing that comes in, you're going to be able to just instantly like get it up to the max point. That's kind of how I used to play Black Clover Mobile. So it's just that's just the only way that I understand it. You watch the Truth DT, you have a very good understanding of that. Whenever this man summons for a new character, he rainbows them instantly, and he can dump all of his resources into that new character, because there is no old enough character he needs to work on at this point. Like, he's already done it, and it's just very genius, very tedious, but there are other things that incentivize like the character growth rank system. Mechamaru, again, he's just like a break-in specifically. I feel like there are very, very, very good damage dealers who happen to just be like not good breakers, but like if you have solid like supports that can give Momo literally boost break damage. Like, if you have the right setup, any character is going to be a good breaker. If you have a high damage character, they're just gonna break, especially when they're getting their break boosted. Does that make sense, guys? Like, that sounds simple to me, but like sometimes it just don't be making sense, because people try to overcomplicate things, and like it's simple, literally. If your character is strong, the break bar is still gonna go down. If you have a character that boosts break, it's gonna go down even faster. You might be close to one tapping a boss, but if you break them, then you know you have 2 turns to like take off the rest of the health. So I mean, like, break characters are useful, but I feel like you can just have a crazy ass damage. Like, bro, if you have hidden inventory Gojo and you have like Momo, right? Which Momo is a character on the standard banner. Hidden inventory Gojo is a character that I can justify summoning for sure. Like, if you have that combo, okay, boom, you have a crazy yellow breaker, because you have a character who's going to be good on any team for support, and a character who's just really strong and can be good in any event. We have Blue Toto. Absolutely not. He is an L. The only thing that makes him a W is the fact that he is God tier wallpaper art, because it's him and Takada-chan. But if that's the only thing that makes you a W, then I'm sorry. In the sense of the game, you are an L, but we still have love for my man Toto. Everybody out there has a Takada-chan, I'm pretty sure. Blue Yuji I put on L because he requires a little more setup from what I hear. He requires a little more setup than Red Yuji does. I believe Red Yuji is a little more kind of like hit the ground running and go. Just start punching shit. Red Panda, curse my summons, so I'm gonna put him in L tier, because every time I get him, it's the bane of my existence, the bane of my spirit. But also I saw his update and everybody was like, oh, he's cracked now, and I'm like, honestly, the brand new Green Miwa looks more cracked than him. Isn't she an attacker? I don't know, but it is besides the point. Yellow Nanami, W, unironically. I like how Nanami's kits work. I like that his damage is evenly split up by, you know, cursed and physical technique evenly, because when you have pages that boost those things evenly, I feel like it's really going to show on him. Obviously, it's going to show on any character that functions that way, but I feel like he's the best character for it, just because all of his skills are like that even split. Like, Nanami's a cracked character. I might just be a Nanami glazer as well. Like that, I'm definitely a Yuji glazer. To give Red Yuji like W, right? Even though there's better red, like, I'm definitely a Yuji glazer. I might be an Anami Glazer as well, because Anami is like Batman on some shit, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's move over to the pages now. Obviously, I already said Imaginary Youth is kind of dog shit. Rest for the Adults is absolutely wonderful. Free healing, free boost to your ultimate gauge, just 10 out of 10. This one right here is for boosting your own damage and boosting your team's crit damage or something like that, or boosting your own crit damage or something. I feel like since there are characters that can boost your crit damage, this isn't as important. Like, I feel like there are other pages that you can definitely prioritize over this. Because you got to think, not only are you using this page, but when I say W or L, we're also saying like, yo, you also have to invest in this page. You don't have to invest in this page, but it feels a lot better whenever you're looking up videos on how to do things. And every time you see a page, you're like, okay, good thing I have that page max level, you know, this many dudes, right? It feels good to have that page worked on. So if you see pages that are very common and show up a lot, then you want to have those pages worked on. And honestly, I just don't know that I'd like to spend my materials on this, and I don't know that I'm gonna like the overall what it's gonna give my team. You know what I'm saying? This one right here is okay. It gives you taunt, and like I said, bro, I'm not trying to go too in depth with all these, but it gives you taunt, and I'm definitely putting in L tier though. It gives you taunt, and it gives you, oh my gosh, this is zoomed in so far. Gives you taunt and increases your damage dealt by 20% for 2 turns, but the more turns that are passed, up to 100%. I don't know. I feel like I like this page quite a bit actually, but it's because it's dependent on your turns for that extra damage. And like, there's already stuff that can naturally just give you 20% damage or give your entire team 20% damage, and then do something else for the character that it's on as well. So that's kind of why I'm like, this one's okay. It's a very early era page, you know, very early era vibes. Curse is Soap Bubbles is a good page. That one is on W for sure. This one is something dress up. This one is L, in my opinion. It's like, I don't know. It's like some of the buffs that these pages give, they can just be a little higher. I feel like some pages I feel like they're used most of the time. If I give a page an L, there's a page that already does what it does a little bit better, as in higher stats that it's giving, or maybe it's giving even the same buff but with less of a percentage, but the other effect is really good, right? So that's why I give this one an L. Archer Trainer by Noritoshi Kamo is absolutely busted. I think that's the highest all allies damage dealt increases by this percent like page. I think that's the highest version of that page that you can get. This page, I remember being kind of disappointed reading it, but I sent for Utahime, so I'm just like, I like the page off of that, but I'm gonna have to give it an L though, just because I like it. For its visual doesn't mean it's good. This one is Liar, I Hate You. I believe this one is a page for like tanks, and honestly, I just gave it an L off the premise that tanks in this game kind of suck. This is Reunion After the Rain. This one's really good for yellow teams. It boosts yellow allies damage dealt by like 25%, I think. I could be incorrect on that one. Definitely. Literally, I keep saying go down in the comments. Like, bro, just be interacting with a dead man for real. I don't bite, and even if I did bite, I don't know how to transmogrify through computer screens yet. So you're safe for now. But the last page that we have is the Pride of the School Doctor. Phenomenal page. Has healing for the unit that it's on. Has healing for every other unit. Maybe it recovers cursed energy. I can't remember exactly, but I don't want this video to go on to the 50-minute range just like the fucking last one did yesterday. Even though people were liking that video. I get it sometimes, chat. I be like, yo, I do turn into DEADMANVINCE sometimes. Oh, and also I want to bring up the fact that, like, yo, the last standard pull update that they did, they also added in, you know, gotcha points, right? Do we think, this one I really need y'all to comment down below, let me know what y'all think about this, because somebody was literally just commenting on my other video actually saying that the gotcha system is actually horrible. And honestly, since I forgot to bring up that stamina boost thing, I think I might have to start cooking another vid for like more features they can add to the game. But I will say, bro, any of those videos that I released that says more features they can add to the game, bro, y'all gotta hype those videos up hard, because like if other content creators see that, they can start, you know, that just starts an entire revolution, right? Now all of a sudden other content creators are making videos like, yo, they should do this, they should do this, they should do this, right? And then if enough people in the community that are like, people are watching, right? If enough people say the same things, at least those things could probably start to be added, or at least the development team could talk about it, because, you know, they do their little surveys and stuff like that. I feel like we haven't had a survey in a very long time, but even still, now that we talked about the basic gacha. We have, out of 23 SSRs added, in my opinion, 11 Ws. So we're like at that 50% range. It would have been a little better if we had 12 Ws. And honestly, I would say that maybe like 1 or 2 of those pages, or maybe even like 1 or 2 characters. Like somebody could make the argument for them being in W. Somebody could definitely, like, if you pulled up on me with a video like, yo, here's a damage test with this character. Here's a damage test with Kamo. He's actually not that bad, DEADMAN. Or, yo, here's a break test with Mekamaru. Like, the breaks he gets is super easy and it saves you. Like, bro, if you can come up to me and make a logistical argument and you have video proof evidence or whatever the fuck of what you're trying to prove, bro, like, I have no choice but to believe you. I'm gonna be like, nah, I can't front. You kind of clicked on that analysis. Dap you up, and I'm gonna be like, all right, bro, I made a mistake. We got 12 W's out of 23, so we're over 50%. But I digress. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. I feel so like not archaic. I feel so old school. I wrote all that information down on a piece of paper. I usually have like my notes on my computer, but I didn't want to be clicking around too much, so I was like, let me just write all this information down on the paper. Felt nice though. Felt nice. Felt out of the ordinary for this day and era. But let's go ahead and switch over to the new list of characters that I have compiled for the second Standard Banner update. Now, where this all begins is that they literally announced in the Japanese version, yes, we will be adding Gojo in as a, I'm sorry, let me put on the Gojo glasses I'm talking about. They did say, yes, we are going to be having another Standard Banner update where we do add in the hidden inventory characters. And honestly, the entire time that I've been playing the game, I thought the hidden inventory characters were actually limited characters, but it turns out they were Standard Banner characters. The only reason why they gave off the illusion of limited characters is because they came out for the half anniversary. But even still, if you think about it, they literally are just linked to the current point of the story mode. And if their banners were out over the course of like 6 months, like if they were doing this over the course of like 6 months, I'm like, bro, I don't even think that's a celebration anymore. I think you're dead ass just like a part of the main continuity of the game type of deal. So it's like, it never occurred to me that these characters were Standard Banner characters. But once I saw that these characters were getting added, I was like, oh dude, I was glad that they said that though, because it brought to my attention that this is a Standard Banner character. Because I was like, bro, after I finished duping up Yuta, which I have, Yuta is 5 out of 5 now. After I finish duping up Yuta, I'm just like, all right, who am I duping up next? Is it Yellow Gojo? Obviously, it's not going to be Hollow Purple Gojo because he can just be bought with standard dupes, right? You can spend, instead of, whenever the shop updates, you can buy the universal dupe that's cost 300 shards. You can spend 50 less shards and just get the character specific to what you need, right? So it's like, who do I use these dupe shards on? And it's just like, you don't have to use them on anybody. If you don't have any other limited characters in your account, you don't have to use them on anybody. You can save them. But I'm just like, yo, if you have limited characters who you know are not going to come back and you know you need them to be stronger for you at the moment, then obviously you need to be more efficient and take the more functional route. It's function over aesthetic. It looks nice to have 5 duplicate shards saved up for characters that are coming in the future. But I'm gonna be honest with you, what feels nicer is just going ahead and putting those dupes into characters that you're using day to day, because they make your grinding experience a lot easier. And yes, I understand the shards are a lot harder to get. There only have been 4 free-to-play ones given out in the game, I think. 2 from the shop, 1 they just gave, what? I'm trying to think. Maybe I'm thinking of Phantom Seals. But I digress. We're not here to break down all the semantics of JJK Phantom Parade today. That's overtime. That's this month. But don't worry about it, guys. But this Gojo is going to be added to the banner. He's absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, I'm not going over these characters. Like, I'm just more so giving you the list of characters who should be added. Obviously, and I got to track this while we're going. Okay. Young Gojo, W. Why? Because he has excellent damage. He's the first Gojo in the game not to disappear after a certain number of turns. He has his own buff. He can taunt people. Like, he's good. He's good. And also, he's going to get a zone update, I feel like, because he can hit Black Flash, can't he? No, he can't yet. Okay, he can't hit Black Flash yet, so never mind. No zone update or anything like that. Black Flash characters have an extra little layer of good to them as well, because they're going to get buffs to like their zone, and everybody's zone kind of interacts in a different way. But obviously, he's going to be added. These are the characters that they made the announcement on that kind of prompted us to know that another second Standard Banner update is coming. And guys, I promise you, it is DEADMANVINCE right now, but the end of this video, I can't front. I think it's gonna bring you like a little bit of joy, low-key. Cause like, it's just like, I was putting this information together and I was like, bro, there's no way. But let's continue on. Next character that's obviously gonna get added. Honestly, bro, I don't even know why I'm going through them one by one. hidden inventory Gojo, hidden inventory Geto, hidden inventory, or not hidden inventory, Toji. Like, all three of those characters are going to get added to the standard banner, which is absolutely crazy. So, honestly, let's just go ahead and put down Geto here for a W, and let's put down Toji here for a W as well, because come on, bro. You know. Like, Toji is a character that people were willing to sacrifice their Yuta summons for. Geto is actually a very good, very competent like debuffer, and I like the way that Geto's work in general, because they typically have like, oh, if you have this much curse energy, you know, you gain this much curse energy back, or you gain this much damage, or you do like, it's just like they're so versatile. They're always so versatile, bro. And honestly, I gotta be real with you. Even though I got shafted on that YouTube banner, I do somewhat regret not going crazy and summoning for Geto as well. Like, Geto definitely could have been useful for me. Blue Geto. And if I had him right now and I could work on him right now, oh my gosh, I'd be so relieved. We already said Toji. Toji is literally going to be a free-to-play dream once he comes out on the standard banner, because if you did not get Yuta, will Yuta rerun before? Yeah, Yuta already reruns. Yeah, GK0 reruns after the anniversary, or maybe after our half anniversary, hopefully. But like, Toji's gonna come back, but I can't front of you, knowing that. Well, that no, I'm thinking, I confuse JJK0 and hidden inventory all the time. Even if you don't get Yuta because you summoned on the anniversary or half anniversary, you can kind of rest assured and know that this Toji is going to be added to the standard pool at some point in the future. And as long as you summon one copy of him, you will be able to buy dupes for him as well. So you can kind of rest assured for that one. Magic Knights, I don't know why I randomly referred to y'all as Magic Knights halfway through the video type shit, but it'd be like that. Next character up is Miwa. Miwa is going to be our first L out of these characters here. So we are 3 for 4 right now. We got 3 W's and then 1 L right here. Miwa's literally out on the global version right now. She's just a mid defender. Like, defender is a mid existence in this game. Sadly. To create defenders in a game where you don't properly give them damage boost, where you don't probably give them damage reduction, you give them damage boost, and you don't have defense as a stat is still baffling to me to this day, but I'm not going to bicker on about it. We're going to go to the next character. Next up, we have Saki Dendo. I'm going to be honest with you. Saki Dendo I'm going to have to give her an L, because the way that her kit works is very weird, very quirky. You want to get very low HP for her to do crazy damage, but if you are at that low HP, like, she gets that big damage. And I'm going to be honest with you, I honestly just want her simply for the fact of, like, testing and just, like, for fun, literally. Like I said, I have other characters to do the things that I need to do when I need to do them. So any other characters that I'm picking up are literally just for fun. Like, they're just for fun, right? And I feel like Saki is a very fun character, but I can't give you W for it being fun, because there's still well, it's weird, because it's like, by the time this banner would come out, we should be through the half anniversary already, because they're definitely not giving us a second standard banner update before half anniversary when JP doesn't even have it yet. But I think that at this point, you're able to be a little looser with who you're picking up and stuff. Because I'm just like, bro, at the point of these characters added to the standard banner, is your roster not already kind of like fully developed? Like, I feel like at that point, you're only summoning 4 characters that are after the anniversary. And like, the characters that are after the anniversary are actually kind of cracky. Whereas these old characters, you can kind of work on them and wait for their hidden potential shit to come out and boost up and everything. But still, I gotta give Saki an L just because she is very quirky and not very like clear cut. What gets you a W is you are a type of character, like a free to play player can jump in the game, start using you, and they can clearly just see like, oh, you're cream of the crop, you're crazy, right? That is what I think is a W character. But an L character is like a character that a free play player can jump into the game, and you're just like, I'm not really too sure how this is working. If it's a character that you gotta go out of the fight a lot or pull up the wiki a lot and try to check, you have to track a lot of shit while you're trying to use them the first few times. I'm sorry, that's like an L character. Like, if it's too complicated to make you good, then you're an L character, personally. SSR Yaga is an absolute Chad tier guy. He is definitely going in the W tier. Just because the red Yaga still reigns supreme does not mean that this Yaga is not good. I say the red Yaga reigns supreme because there are some events that you cannot debuff in, but I say that yellow Yaga is absolutely clearing red Yaga if you're in a stage where you can debuff, because you got a constant buff from this Yaga that is equal to the stackable buff from the other Yaga, and it doesn't stack, it's only one instance of it at all times, but at the same time, you can stack a much grimier debuff on the enemies with this Yaga, so he is definitely in that W class. And also, just because he is going to be coming, he's not an SSR character, obviously, but Gakuganji is also a W. He is, a really good versatile debuffer. And he's an SR character. So like literally, bro, if you start saving your standard banner tickets right now, by the time they do the second standard banner update on the global version, I'm not gonna lie, by the end of your summons, you should be able to 5-star this man by the end of your summons alone. Mine, by chance, I got lucky and summoned 3 times on Yaga's banner, 2 times with the free tickets because there's 1 free multi they gave you. And honestly, bro, yo, God bless Billy for them 2 multis, bro. Because I was just like, yo, without them 2 multis, I don't know if I probably wouldn't have gotten Yaga. Because like I had 2 multis and I was like, yo, I got the page, I got Gakuganji. Let me go in for 1 more summon because I'm feeling it. If I didn't have that second summon, I would have never gotten the page. The first one was absolute shit. So thank you so much, Billy, for that. But Gakuganji is an incredible unit. Still, he's a W, even though he's not an SSR character. I will, you know what? No, I'm not going to take him out of the list when considering the W's and everything. Because like, if an SR character is so good that they can be considered on the same level and at the same table as SSR characters, and I mean like, it's just as much of a dub, isn't it? Because they're even easier and cheaper to work on, even easier to summon. Blue Nanami, people talk about him like they have mixed reviews. Like I said, a Nanami Glazer. I think this Nanami is incredible. I think this buff right here is really cool. I think it plays really well into all the rest of his skill. Like, he's just so perfect. It's just like, dude, you're giving yourself Taijutsu and Jujutsu. You're increasing your damage dealt. So that essentially is feeding into your Jujutsu and Taijutsu. Then all of your extra skills are Jujutsu / Taijutsu, an even split. Okay, you're increasing your crit rate right here. Like, bro, this man is boosting himself, decreases the enemy's critical hit. Like, bro, he's either boosting himself, he buffing the enemy in every aspect and every capacity, except for his skill 1. That's the only one. But you know Nanamis can hit black flashes, and his black flash damage is always insane because that man is a pro with that shit for real. So I like this Nanami. People can hate. That's okay. They don't have to think that he's good. But I am personally gonna give this Nanami a W. I'm sorry. I feel like people hype up very much how yellow Nanami works, and they try to downplay how this Nanami works. And obviously they work a tiny bit differently. But at the end of the day, bro, they're just a perfect split hybrid DPS. Come on, bro. Green Maki. From the last time I read her, I'm pretty sure Green Maki is actually pretty good. She has a debuff right here. I feel like she does. I feel like she has something extra in her kit that she does whenever enemies are debuffed. Again, though, we're not here to go over these characters. I'm just showing you the characters who are going to be on the standard banner. And I guess I gotta put chapters on this because I am going for these characters like somewhat fast. But Green Maki should be another character that they add onto the standard banner, and honestly, it doesn't really matter what their skills are looking like or anything like that because we're just talking about characters that you're gonna have access to getting for free later. That's all this is. This is just me telling you, like, yo, these characters are gonna be free, and me counting off the W's and everything. Green Maki. I'm trying to think. Is there another DPS before her that's so good that you're kind of like, because I could see maybe like Hollow Purple Gojo starting to get a little old just because like his damage is still really freaking crazy, but I can still see him kind of like getting kind of old just because he leaves in a certain number of turns, and I'm not that big a fan of that. And honestly, I used to rank Gojos based on how free they were until Domain Expansion Gojo came out. So I was like, okay, Hidden Inventory Gojo is the best because he stays out the entire time. Blue Gojo is the second best because he stays out for 7 turns guaranteed. I was like, Hollow Purple Gojo is the worst because he leaves after his ultimate, which does really suck because you have to hold his ultimate pretty much until his last turn to really get the full use out of him. But I can't front of you time and time again. It's been proven to me that like Hollow Purple Gojo is probably the second best just because his damage typically is enough to like finish up the fight, or you're right at the tail end of the fight once Gojo does what he does. Blue Gojo just falls off too hard, you know. I feel like they finally released the blue DPS in the JP version that clearly just like can like, oh, I mean obviously Sukuna, but I mean like you already have your debuff, you already have your supporter in Momo and Geto, so it's just like why not have a second DPS, right? But I feel like Gojo was a good second DPS. Honestly, I feel like your second DPS is just supposed to be like a really good breaker. Probably at this point for Sukuna, like break the enemy as hard as you can, which Kamo is a breaker unit, but he's a very old, outdated breaker unit with lower stats. When you can just put a stronger character than Kamo up there and just give them a page that increases their break, or just use a character for Momo. Oh, they're on the same color. Wow, crazy. You could do a mono team if you needed to, right? Put all those characters on the same team together, and all of a sudden, you know, your second DPS is your breaker, as long as you're putting him in front of Sukuna, right? And then letting that Domain Expansion rip. Green Maki. Listen, I'm going to have to read the skills to give her my real rating. When critical hitters perform, increases like the enemy's touches damage received by 20.2%. Effective for green. She's good for like mono green, okay. Increases on damage by 20% one time. Just go up. No, just 20% by one time. If there are less enemies in the wave. One. So she's a good boss killer, probably. Increases all damage. Enemies taijutsu damage receive by 15% for 2 turns. Effective for green. Deals melee damage to all enemies. Okay, she has an AoE, but also a skill that's like good for bosses. Or it can be good for bosses. It can be AoE or good for bosses. It does have cooldowns on it though. I don't know if you guys remember, but in my other video I was talking about how characters who have heavenly restriction can't use cursed energy, so they typically have no cooldown, so the characters were becoming so overpowered they had to start giving cooldowns and shit. Alright, increases break damage, critical hit rate, and then melee taijutsu. Now, I feel like this Maki is not a break-centric, break-focused character. She does have a break skill, yes. But I feel like she's really just a high damage, you know what? Green does not have that prolific a list of options for DPSs. So you know what? I'm gonna put her in W just for the positioning of her color and the time that she is going to release, and probably the time that she's gonna become free for you. Because by the time she becomes free, who are the green characters that you have easy access to for DPSs? Green Yuji, Hollow Purple Gojo, yeah, Mahito, you know Mahito is somebody you always put in the back line though, and just let them like kind of like pop in later in the fight. So it's just like the list of green DPSs is not that prolific, it's not that incredible. So I will go ahead and give her the dub this time. You win this time, Maki. Well, Maki wins a lot though. Even though she didn't necessarily win a lot in the anime, she wins a lot in my heart. Mai Zenin, she's an interesting debuffer. She's quirky, she's cool. I'm gonna give her, did I say Maki? I meant Mai. Damn, dude. I'm like, now I am starting to get to that point where I'm like, yo, by the time, like, for real, by the time this comes out, like, Sukuna and Gojo already be here, there'll be a lot more freedom on characters you can summon for, and plus these characters are free anyway. It's a lot more freedoms on characters you can work on, because you already have your really good characters worked on by the time that this will happen. So it's just like, as I go character deeper, I am starting to kind of look at it and be like, but you were kind of interesting in a way that is probably like very enjoyable for a lot of people to test around with. I'm starting to turn around on it. I don't know, dude. Who did I give an L earlier? I think Saki's still gonna be an L just because the way to play around her is getting her low health, and that's a very easy, like, she just dies. I think I'm gonna leave Miwa at L because she's just not a good, like, defender's just a wasted class, honestly. Mai, I'll give the W because she is interesting. Plus. Mai's gonna come out next week on the global version and players. Since I am talking about this right now, since you know that the half anniversary is coming in 45 days, and since you know these characters are probably gonna come on the second Standard Banner update, because the first Standard Banner update did something as crazy as introduced the pity system and introduced 11 characters or 12 characters and 11 pages, we're gonna count and tally up all of the stuff that got added. Right? SSRs, we're not counting Gakuganji because Gakuganji is just like an SR. I feel like he's kind of like an afterthought for what they're throwing in. I don't seriously think that they're like, all right, bro, this Standard Banner update is gonna be crazy. These motherfuckers is gonna jump for SR, Gakuganji. Like, no, nobody's at headquarters thinking that. Even though Gakuganji is a very good character, they're just like, oh, let's just throw in Gakuganji as well. Let's not forget him. He was on Yaga's Banner. Yes. That is more how that conversation went. They know people are not jumping for Gakuganji, right? Plus, Gakuganji's not even a popular character because Gojo showed aggression towards that man. People are like mad loyalists to Gojo. So it's just like if Gojo hated on you once, then you're just, I feel like everybody in the fan base is kind of like, yeah, fuck off, right? But let's go to the next character. We got Inumaki. Apparently this Inumaki is good. Is this the one that I looked at and I was like, yo, he has a chance to just not lose HP at all? Yeah, he doesn't lose HP on this. Yeah, I remember. I remember this Inumaki's solid. I'll give him a W for sure. But also, guys, please don't summon for this character either. I mean, it's obvious what people are doing. Somebody already hopped in my chat like, why don't you have Inumaki? I'm just like, why do you have Inumaki? And we're 45 days away from the anniversary. Let me know. Unless you got lucky and summoned him on the tickets. But like, come on, let's be real. Who else out here is moving like the dead man and just getting blessed up every single time? Next up, we got Nobara. L. I'm putting her in L. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even really need to look back over her kit. I just know that compared to Yellow Nobara and Red Nobara, who use that nail mechanic, I really don't like this Nobara that much. She doesn't really have a nail mechanic. She's different in that regard. Yeah, Like Nobar just makes sense for stacking up nails and shit, but I'm just like, bro, shouldn't even got that mechanic. I feel like it's half a character. I feel like it's like, why'd you release this character for real, for real? Are they gonna add something in the future to her hidden potential system that adds like nails into her kit? And if they do that, like what is the hidden potential system really if you're just gonna completely just overhaul what a character was originally intended for? I don't know. But like Nobara without nails, they kind of nailed her ass up on the cross on that one. I don't know, bro. This Megumi gets a W. If I remember correctly, he can essentially take damage like a tank, but he can offload it to divine dogs, but he's not even a defender. Like, bro, he's a debuffer. Bro, it's crazy to me that defender is a class in a game, and every defender has some mechanic that's supposed to make them hit harder, and then you have characters like this who just have better defensive like means and everything. I guess, you know, defense isn't a stat in JJK because motherfuckers like once you get touched for real, you be cooked for real in JJK. Like they're like the only creatures in JJK that exist and can get their ass like beat the hell up and like just be okay and just keep fighting are literally cursed spirits and Toto. Yeah. Cursed spirits and Toto are the only two things in JJK that can absolutely just take a beating and then just stand back up and just keep going, bro. Even Gojo's not within that because Gojo literally has an ability that allows him to not be touched. So like if Gojo could take a beating, like Sukuna could take a beating, there'll be no point in using Infinity. But it's like his body has a natural lower damage resistance threshold, if that makes sense, because he's literally just not getting touched as much as somebody who's been getting fucking beaten up and just fighting for their entire life and everything, an experienced veteran fighter. But Megumi, I give Megumi the W. And then Yuki, Kaito Yuki, I'll give him a W as well. He's definitely not worth summoning when he comes out because when he comes out is right before the anniversary. But even still, he is a very good character. He's definitely a character that I can see you working hard to get from the standard banner and maybe even duping out with the standard banner after the second standard banner update comes through. But guys, this chunk of characters that I just showed you, these characters all released between the first banner, or not even between the first standard banner update, because some of these characters had already released by the time the first standard banner update came out, but these are literally just like the remnants of characters that were already out when the standard banner update came out, but they didn't get added to it, so obviously they're going to be added to the next one. And then all the way up to right before the half anniversary, for us, the half anniversary, because Yuki literally came out like days before that shit, and I was like, anniversary character? And then it wasn't an anniversary character. You see he's standard right there. Then Yuji comes out, and Yuji's the anniversary character, and then Gojo comes out, and then Sukuna comes out, and you know how the rest of the story goes. Now we're here. But I say Yuki is a W, and just with the characters alone, guys, we are already at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my gosh. We're already at 11 W's on the characters alone. And the characters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So guys, if you do not include Gakuganji, because if you add Gakuganji, it's 14 characters, but like really it's about the SSRs that are getting added in. If you include Gakuganji, 13 SSRs, 1 SR character. But it's just a matter of Gojo, Geto, and Toji all were releasing simultaneously at the same time as a lot of these characters, and they're even rerunning right now as we're going through the rest of these characters. So that stands to reason that they would release the same amount of characters or similar to it, because without Toji, Gojo, and Geto, we're literally just looking at 10 more characters getting added when they added 12 characters in the first place. So it's just like, it makes a lot of sense in my opinion, or 14, I'm sorry. So 11 characters getting added, 1 SR. So that's easier to justify than what they did before. They added 12 SSR characters in. They added 11 SSR characters, then an SR character, and then they're also adding the hidden inventory characters on top, but like those characters were literally on top of other banners whenever they were out originally in the game. So it stands very feasible in my mind, in my eyes, that we do see all 14 of those characters added to the standard banner. Now let's count the pages. I already have a list of those pages, by the way. Like pages are very Pages are a little hard to track sometimes because pages literally are not always linked to a character. Sometimes pages come out by themselves. Sometimes a character gets or sometimes a character comes out and they get a page reran on their banner. So it's a little trickier to keep an eye on the pages. But luckily, I pre-compiled a list here beforehand. So the first page, we're gonna go through the pages from hidden inventory. All right, guys, I compiled a list of all of the recollection bits, and it turns out I actually had them already kind of like basically put into an L or W category, just based off of what I needed. All right, maybe it wasn't L and W, maybe it was like based off of what I needed, but obviously I would only want pages that are good. If I read a page and I was like, oh, this isn't that good, then I obviously was just like, okay, I don't know that I want to summon that. So we're gonna go through these real quick, and I'm just gonna explain the quick W or L justification. For now, a cola. No, this isn't for now a cola. This is anyway. Let's have a cola. This one's good because it's like non-standard, but it's for yellow units, so the damage boost is actually a tiny bit higher on it. And instead of giving you ultimate gauge, it instead gives you extra break damage if your ultimate gauge is full. Whenever you do your ultimate, I was about to say do twice. Y'all know how that goes. You know how there's some infants in here type shit. But it was crazy that Nanami handed this man the cola upside down, low key. I'm just realizing that. I'm like, why would you not hand him the shit right side up? Anyway, this page is obviously a W if it's like a stronger non-standard. This page is not actually as impressive. This is Strawberry Parfait of Youth. Decrease all allies Jujutsu damage received by 40%. It's not always Jujutsu damage straight up that your allies are taking. Sometimes it is a little bit of physical technique. If it were just reduces damage received in general by 40% for allies, I think it was a little better, but it also has an 8-turn cooldown, which I do not like. If own HP is 50%, recovers own HP by 30% up to 1 time in battle. That's not too bad, but again, I feel like the initial effect on it is just like so. Like 40% for 1 turn is solid, but I feel like probably Mutual Trust or something like that is better. It doesn't have the heal on it, no, but I still feel like Mutual Trust is probably just a little better because does it not give a similar defense buff? Tokyo Fukuoka Exchange, this one is on W. So the first one, anyway, let's have a cola, W. The second one, Strawberry Parfait Youth, L. This one, I say a W. Tokyo Fukuoka Exchange, increases own taijutsu by 85%. This is basically like-minded sisters, except for it dumps all of your stuff in a physical technique and doesn't give you any curse technique at all. Because like-minded sisters does have a little bit of curse technique it gives you as a stat, I'm pretty sure. And at the start of battle, increases your own critical rate by 20%. Just highly offensive, very good. Next up, we have Ignoring Orders. Ignoring Orders is solid for like a blue team, but it's like specifically for Miwa. That's why I gotta give it the L, because I'm just like, Miwa's not good. And it's just like, for this to be fully realized, for this to be fully utilized, not only do you have to be blue, but you also have to have a counter stance. So you kind of have to fucking be Miwa to get full use off of this page. It is whatever, honestly. Honestly, before we even talk about this page, the free-to-play page that's out right now for the Sorcerer Scales, the Jujutsu Sorcerer Scale event that I actually went over in my video, go check that out for sure. But literally, that page is better than the standard banner one, to be honest with you. This one right here is probably just going to be another L, because this one is if your own HP is below 35%. Again, for players who are going to be getting their hands on these characters for like the first times and everything, I don't feel like it's going to be fun for them to try to play around and get their health to like that low without dying. So honestly, this page is specifically for Sakirindo. So this one I did give an L for a grade. The next one is Night on the Sacred Mountain. Let's see. Decreases own damage received by 70% 3 turns. That's actually pretty cracked. Increases all allies at the start of turn. If own HP is 70% or below, increases all allies taijutsu and jujutsu by 20% for 1 time during battle. So I put this one in L, but honestly, I'm changing my mind. This one's a W. This one's actually kind of cracked, low key. Like, I must have been misreading. Maybe I saw that HP threshold and was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But I just realized that 70% damage reduction for 3 turns. That is 3 turns, and this reloads in 6. So for 3 turns, you have damage reduction. 3 turns, you gotta wait it out, and then boom, just back again. Very annoying. And then annoying for the enemy. Then also at the start of battle, if HP is 70% or below, 70% or below is very easy to achieve. Especially when you get deep into a fight and like Yuta's healing you up and everything. Imagine a situation where Yuta's on a team with whoever you're using this on, right? And as you're going through the fight, Yuta's done all of his heals for the duration of the fight that he can do, his 3 heals, and then after his 3 heals, it's literally just, alright, well now we're starting to trail a little lower below 70% HP, but at the same time, we have so many buffs in play that we're able to either kill the enemies faster, or maybe we've decreased the enemy's damage or something like that. Alright, cool. All of a sudden, it's easier to maintain that 70% HP without having to be scared if you're gonna die or not. So this page, low-key, unironic, you got switched from a L to a W. To determine an L or a W in this document that I have over here, guys, the L's are just like kind of like typed up, the W's are bolded out, so I know that like, yo, this is a page that I am trying to get my hands on. And this one just got added as I'm going through these pages. Very, very impressive. Knight of the Spiritual Mountain Range. Actually, I have this page. I got 1 copy of it, and I would be down to get some more. But we go on to the next one. Divine Dog Short Break. This one I gave a W. Let's see why. When ultimate skill is activated, increases own damage dealt by 65%, increases critical hit rate by 25%. And then when a critical hit or black flash is performed, increases own taijutsu or jujutsu by 10% for 4 turns. So I think I like the fact that critical hit or black flash for some characters is such an easy proc. And you can get that, like, this is for 4 turns. Like, yes, it's only 10%, but it lasts for 4 turns. The amount of times a character crits or black flashes, like, bro, you're gonna be able to proc this multiple times. And with a character like his own Yuji, right, who can do multiple attacks in a turn, and multiple of the attacks are guaranteed to be black flashes, that starts to turn into something really, really crazy. And I just had this premonition, chat. I think that this video is still gonna be like 50 minutes or whatever, bro. I guess I just can't contain the yappery sometimes. But this page is also just a very strong W. Then we have 2 more pages left, I believe. No, not just 2, a few more. Nimble Curse Speech User. This one I gave W. Let's see why. When command or ultimate skill is activated, increases on taijutsu by 30% and jujutsu by 30%, ignores darkness status when attacking, and it's only a 5-turn cooldown. And that's a 3-turn buff right there. I think I gave this a W simply off the fact I started to get like excited about thinking about using Nanami and this together. At the start of a battle, recovers cursed energy by 10, activates again after every 6 turns have passed. Oh, this is probably why as well, because this is like one of the first pages that I've seen that are like, okay, this happens infinitely in a fight. It just kind of like, it just depends on how many turns have passed. This is kind of like similar to something having a 6-turn cooldown. Instead, it's just like, yo, this will automatically happen after every 6 turns. It's such a beneficial effect. Like, this page is 10 out of 10 top grade. It was just unfortunate because the banner that it came out on, who did this come out with? It just wasn't worth it. Is this going to come out with Mai? I think this is going to come out with Mai. This is, yeah, but still, not worth the summon just because of how close we are to the anniversary, but even still a very excellent page. Then let's go on to the next one. So that's a W. Yep. Next one is going to be a Student's Duty. When activating Commander Ultimate Skill, recovers own HP by 25%, increases damage by 55% for red characters. At the start of battle, recovers on Curse Energy. This one is actually way more basic than a lot of the other ones that I was like looking at, but I will say I do appreciate it for the fact that it is damage. No, this might be the one that's on Mai's banner, but I do appreciate the fact that it is giving you damage while it's healing you. Like, it's like you can be offensive and defensive at the same time, which I feel like we don't see a lot of that kind of stuff in this game. So I do think that this one is definitely earned itself as W. I think this next one is called Fleeting Memories. Next one up is Fleeting Moments. When command skill or ultimate skill is activated, increase own damage by 60% for 2 turns, 2 times. I don't understand why they do that to recollection bits, unless there's got to be something that they plan to introduce into the game later on, or a character that can instantly reset somebody's recollection bit or something like that. Increases own damage by 60%, effective for blue. If HP is 50% or below, increases own jujutsu damage received by 5%. So I don't like this one because it increases your damage received. If you're in a damage received status, you increase your own jujutsu damage by 30%, but I don't like making yourself vulnerable. Yes, it is only 5%, I know, but in a game where defense is not a thing and even damage reduction unit or defender units are ass, I just can't trust stuff like this. I'm sorry, I don't like the thought of debuffing my character just for extra damage. I understand like cutting back on the damage and just giving me like, okay, what if instead of me having to put myself in like an extra damage received kind of like state, because that lasts for 2 turns. You got to think, if an enemy drops an ultimate or something like that, that 5% could be what kills the unit. That lasts for 2 turns though, and it's just like, and that's if your health is 50% below. So if your health is 50% or below, so if you're already halfway dead, we are going to make you get hit a little bit harder for 2 turns in exchange for crazy damage. Not even that crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's 90%. But like honestly, I feel like there are other, like, bro, 85. How much lower is 85% to 90%? You know what I'm saying? Like, if the 85% couldn't do it, how much better is 90% gonna do for you? And there's a few pages that can give you 85% damage boost without hurting you at all. Cursed Spirit at the Beach. When ultimate skill is activated, it increases own damage dealt by 85%, one turn, one time for green characters. At the start of turn, his health is 50% or below, increases own cursed energy consumption efficiency for 2 turns. I do like that a lot because again, this is not a type of page that has like a limit on the secondary effect or on its auto effect. These are auto effects, these are the active effects. The auto effect up here, it just keeps going as long as you have less than 50% HP at the start of your turn. And that lasts for 2 turns. So even if you get over 50% HP, the turn after that activates, you're still gonna have cursed energy efficiency. And if you get put right back down below, the cursed energy efficiency should never go away. Like it's pretty crazy conceptually. This is for green units specifically, but even still, like, I don't hate a page because it's locked to a certain color. I hate a page when it's locked to a certain color and requires the unit that it's on to be a very specific type of unit, and it doesn't give you that much of a damage boost, damage reduction, or anything like that. And guys, it turns out that I actually missed, I'm sorry, this page is a W, I'm pretty sure. Yes, this page is a W, but I actually missed a page that came out with, I believe, Kaito right before the anniversary. What was inherited or inheritance or whatever. This is a standard banner page. And this right here is literally the date of the anniversary, 11/21/2024. Kaito, I think, dropped at the start, and then, or like the day before, or something like that, and then literally, or when I say the day before, maybe I mean like 1 a.m. at anniversary time, which in my opinion is, it feels kind of like the day before, but not really, because daily reset is 10 hours after that typically. But I have no idea what this one's going to get me into here. When command skill or ultimate skill is activated, increases own taijutsu damage by 70%, recovers own cursed energy by 10, available once 5 turns have passed. That's fine because you're usually building up an ultimate. We do not like 7-turn cooldowns though. At the start of battle, recovers own cursed energy by 10. At the start of turn, if health is 50% or below, decreases own damage received by 15%, increases own taijutsu damage by 15%. I'm willing to give this page a W. Okay guys, so what did we say the first time on the first? We got our handy dandy notepad here. For the first standard banner update, we had 12 units added, and then 11 recollection bits added. Out of those units, 6 of them were W's. Out of the recollection bits, 5 of them were W's. On the new standard banner update, from the characters that I have compiled here, we altogether, first of all, there's 26 things being added here, 25 SSR things being added here, but that's not that much bigger of a jump considering that 23 things were added with the original standard banner update. And again, I do want to reiterate, Gojo, Geto, and Toji, wow, it is hard to say all 3 of their names together and not mix them up in any way, but all 3 of those characters were literally dropping simultaneously as other characters were dropping, so that it makes sense for them to be added in on top of a number that they have already kind of like ideally set for themselves, right? Again, you subtract the 3 hidden inventory characters from the characters that would be added from the standard banner update, and you have 10 just like SSR, or not even SSRs, just 10 characters, and then 12 recollection bits, which adds up to 22. You add in the 3 characters from hidden inventory, it jumps it up to 25. But I mean, like, again, very doable, very normal, makes a lot of sense. And plus, if they're gonna add characters like Geto, Gojo, and Toji, who broke the game when they came out, well, it makes no sense not to add in the characters that came out after them that didn't even really change the game that much, that they were all coming out with. Plus, another perspective is, I brag about this all the time. I really am proud to know him, but when I bartend my regular, right, he talks to me about game development, or he doesn't talk to me. I always pull up and I tell him, like, yo, I'm about to pick your brain, bro. Which I know I'd be super annoying with him sometimes, cause like he do be there like working on his laptop and shit. So I just be like, hey, bro, do you mind if I pick your brain for a second? I'm so sorry. And like I'll just ask for questions. It is to my understanding that when it comes to situations like this, where one game is being speed ramped really hard, and you know the other game is kind of taking its time, and it seems like they're trying to sync up and everything. One thing that I think, the 2 things that are just being prioritized and considered the most from the development company is, 1, how much money is this going to take, and 2, how is scheduling going to work for this. But I will go ahead and say, one very huge thing, one very important thing is scheduling in these games. When you have a giant organization, and I won't even say giant, but when you have a big enough organization, with enough people. If you have an organization with like more than like 50 people in it, and like as much as people like joke around about development teams and all that, like I'm sorry, when you think about the financial department, the marketing department, the actual developers, the actual CEO, the blah blah blah, like bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, for them to make a Japanese game and then come out and make a global game and them have other games under their belt, I don't know what other games SoomZap has, but I'm assuming that there's other. JJK Phantom Parade can't be their first game. If it was their first game, it wouldn't be as good as it is. I'll be honest with you, and that is a little JJK Phantom Parade glaze. Some people might not think the game is as good as it is, but let's be real, the game is good. It's a side game. People want to play it more. That's what people are upset about. People want to summon more. That's what people are upset about. But like functionally, the game is fun. The game is good, and the characters are cool. They're hype. It's a good game, but schedule is very important if you have a big group of people working for you, because that way everybody knows when things are supposed to be done by, and everybody can take their own little efforts even in the background, because that's what a career is. A career is something that you feel like even when you go home you're willing to work on that shit a little bit more, because you know that shit can improve the value of your life, right? So if you have a schedule, you know what you kind of need to be keeping in mind as you go home and shit. Like a schedule is for you to work around the things you're supposed to do in your free time and know like the day that it needs to be done for real. Because at work you're obviously going to be working towards it all the time, but like when you're outside of work, sometimes you think things like, yo, what can I do to get myself ahead of schedule, or what can I do to make sure that I'm prepped up for tomorrow because I know I got a big day ahead of me or something like that. So since scheduling is so important, I do want to share a very, very interesting fact. So this is really hard for you to see, but pretty much what this says is the first Standard Banner update came out 303 days into the Japanese version of the game, September 20th. That is also 62 days before the first anniversary. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to wait 606 days into the JP version, but it's the only semblance of a pattern that we have. So what is the range that we're seeing for the Standard Banner? 300 days into the year, or 62 days, about 2 months before the anniversary. All right, cool. Now here's what's interesting. If you look at the global version, because people think that the global version is just faster. They don't think that it's like an actual, specific like rate of which that it's faster. I can't front of you. I feel like the global version is proportionally faster to like, there's a rhyme and reason to how much faster the global version is, so that they can line things up at specific times. Okay, cool. If we know that scheduling is a thing that's very important to companies like this, especially gacha game companies, and also, one thing that just came to mind, Dokkan, they admitted to the player base that whenever they're working on a character, like anniversary character, any character really, they work on those characters for like 6 months. They know what's coming like 6 months in advance. Honestly, Dokkan knew what they had planned for their 10-year anniversary like in advance type of deal. So it's just like, bro, these games have to think far ahead. When you're putting millions of dollars into something and there's a chance that it could flop or do good, you have to plan far ahead, so that as soon as it does do good, you're not scrambling trying to figure out what to do next to keep pushing money. And also, if you already have a structured system and something in the system does not work, you now know that, okay, since this didn't work, we could probably minimize this in future points in the plan. Right? So it's just like scheduling is important. Scheduling, like some people are getting paid right now just to make a schedule, if that makes sense to you, right? Some people are specializing in schedules and putting things at certain times that are most beneficial for both development teams and stuff like that. There's somebody doing that, definitely, I guarantee it. Okay, cool. The Standard Banner update came out 127 days into the global version of the game, which is March 14th. It's not on the timeline on the wiki, but I literally went back to Twitter. No, it's not X. I went back to Twitter and I literally scrolled through their shit and found it. March 14th is when the Standard Banner update came in the global version. So that is 127 days after the game started, which is about 54 days before our half anniversary. Now, this is very interesting math right here, and this all applies because scheduling is so important. There's no way that what I'm about to tell you is a coincidence. 2 times the length of time which it took for the Standard Banner update to come out in the JP version, 606 days. That would be July 20th. 62 days before the JP version, or before the JP version's second anniversary, which would probably match up to the global version first anniversary, is September 20th. Now, guys, if you look at the global version, 2 times the time it took to get the Standard Banner update in the global version would be 254 days. 254 days after the release of the global version is July 19th, whereas 606 days into the JP version is July 20th. So it is very odd that those dates line up so perfectly. 54 days before the global version's first anniversary, which should line up with the Japanese version's second anniversary, should be September 14th, which is very, very close to September 20th. So, I think that it is not a coincidence that these dates are so close together. I believe that the game is probably going to be synced by the time we get our second Standard Banner update, and we should be seeing it probably in between the July and September months here, to be honest, just because there's no way that I do this random math right here, and the random math actually just yielded results that were so close together, so coincidentally close, it's just crazy in my opinion, that both of them going into the game, it would be the 20th or the 19th of July, and then like if you go even on the other end of it, it'd be close to like the end of September for them to add these things. But I digress. But guys, I rest my case. I pretty much think that that's how the second Standard Banner update is gonna like roll out. I definitely see both of the games being synced up by the time that happens, because you gotta think, after we get to the half anniversary, right now, our half anniversary is in 45 days, which means that it's in about a month and a half, essentially, right? So in a month and a half, how much content we'll have released in the second year of JJKJP for us to catch up on at that point? We would have 6 months to get caught up to the JP version, but at the point that we are at our half anniversary, we would only have, so December and all this stuff, like actually that still is anniversary stuff then, yeah. So like you have after, so pretty much by the end of the celebration, we have to get like everything up to Sakuna. They could maybe make us wait for the JJK0, you know, rerun and stuff after the anniversary to kind of kick us off as our first thing into the year 2 of it. But like literally, bro, after that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I can't even include December because half of this month, at least half of this month, is still, like, bro, Sakuna. If Sakuna's coming at the end, then it was still anniversary things going on. When did this end? This ended the 1st of, or the 20th of January. When does the actual anniversary events and everything end as well? So all this stuff, this ended, okay, so this ended in December, this ended, okay. But Sakuna is still obviously an anniversary character. So like the anniversary is basically going into the end of December, or maybe not the end of December, but I mean, yeah, into the end of December, into January even, right? So let's see, what is this? New Year paid gotcha, selected best SR character, 1 time guaranteed only. Okay, that's cool. But yeah, literally after that you have 1, 2, 3, add a month and a half to that. That's 4.5 months for global to catch up on in a 6-month time span. And that's only two more. I don't know if y'all understand me. That is 4.5 months of things that JP would have currently. Then JP would add in 1.5 more months worth of content before the next anniversary. Whereas Global is literally on a crazy speed ramp, and we've managed to match a year worth of content in 6 months. Obviously, if Global speeds up faster, eventually it's going to get to a point where probably the Global version meets the JP version right at that month before the 2 anniversaries, right? And then we can see the anniversaries collide and everything, but I'm gonna go more into that in a separate video. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this video today. Like, bro, I know my videos may not be relevant for things that are happening in the global version of the game right now, but all of this stuff is going to speed blitz you, and if you are not prepared for it, it's going to overwhelm you free-to-play players, even you like spenders, because people who spend in this game still have to go like balls deep on Banner sometimes and get shafted, and it's just like, bro, you feel so empty on the inside afterwards, especially in this game. So guys, please be smart, please be prepared, please don't waste your resources. I really would love for all of y'all to succeed to the greatest of your abilities, and I would hate for y'all to get shafted on anything that would completely polarize your gameplay experience. But guys, keep in mind what this second Standard Banner update is looking like. Oh, and by the way, comparatively, there were 11 W's in the first Standard Banner update out of 23 SSRs added. There are 19 W's in the second Standard Banner update that I have written up here out of 25 characters being added, one of them being an SR. And honestly, even if you took away, like, bro, you could take away 3 W's from the Recollection bits and from the characters on the second standard banner update. Got that notepad on the second standard banner update, and it still would, the first update would still pale in comparison for how many W's it had. So guys, the second standard banner update is going to be very impactful. Not even for the fact of all the new stuff that's getting added is better than, is I'd say a better group of things getting added in general, but just the fact of, yes, you can still buy dupes for them older characters too, and dupes for these new characters now. So it's like, it just gives you a little more options for characters that you want. So if you have a character that you feel like does perform well for you, and you're kind of like contemplating and sitting on the edge, like for instance me, I have 250 character crystals left over for whoever I want really, and I can get a copy of a complete Domain Megumi, or I can get a copy of Momo, but it doesn't matter to me because I already have them at 2 dupes, and they already have the extra 10 cursed energy at the start of the fight. So it's just like, I'm already getting out of them what I need. When the next banner update comes out, I'd love to get them all 5-star and everything, just for extra stats, for extra HP, and Megumi, you know, extra damage, whatever. But even still, nonetheless, it is not necessary. But even still, you have the option to pick amongst anything. But if you guys did enjoy this video, then please do go down below and leave a like. Yeah, honestly, that's it. Just go leave a like, man. You can do whatever the hell else you want. You'll do it anyway. But that's gonna be it for your boy, DEADMANVINCE. Love you guys. Hopefully you have a wonderful day. Peace out.